Hey, what's up, Kenya? I don't know who to address this to, but let me just first explain, and then whoever picks it and finds sense in it can go ahead and try and exploit it. So, I'm a trainer of electrical and solar installation, and then I have my own personal space. It's called the TVET Edge, and under the TVET Edge, we now have our private academy. So, I've been in this space for, we could say, close to a year now, because it's just 15 days to a full educational, 15 days to a full academic calendar. And there's one thing that I've noted. Okay, a few things, but for today, let me mention something that might be affecting several institutions, not just where I am. To train electrical installation, we need to expose students to as many practical sessions as possible for them to really leave the institution with enough knowledge on how to do electrical installations. Now, electrical installations come in very many different configurations or designs, and that means that a student needs to have as many practical sessions before they are allowed to do the actual live session. So, for context, if you are going to train a pilot, they don't normally just come from home and hop into a physical aircraft and go into the sky. If you're training a doctor, they have dummies, practice dummies where they can do probably injections. I might be wrong, but I've seen things like that. Even in the driving school, we normally have the table. You first practice a few concepts on the table before you are allowed to go on the road. And we even have simulators where you can sit on a chair, there's a screen, there's a rod, and you simulate, the whole thing. Now, with the electrical installation, I realized that this is one of the most expensive accessory in training a student. This is a cable, and they come in different sizes, as you can see, depending on the need or on the what is being connected, the final accessory that is being connected. So the smaller the cable, the smaller the accessory. For example, here we have got the 1 square millimeter cable. This one can support very basic loads like lamps. Then as you increase in size, you increase the loads. So institutions, and this is information that is all over, not my institution only. Institutions are struggling with giving students enough practical sessions because this accessory is expensive. This is a cable. And the reason why this accessory is expensive is because of the inner part. This part, this is the conductor. So a cable is made up of a conductor and a sheath, and depending on structure, we have got those that are single insulated or double insulated, as you can see. So the sheath or the insulation is not expensive. The inner part, the conductor, the copper, that is what makes this accessory expensive. But then I've been looking at it and saying, if we have different trades or different career paths where simulations have been designed and developed to allow a student to interact with a dummy of the real thing until they are capable of, working on the real thing. Why not in electrical engineering? So this is a call to material scientists. You could be associated to a company. You could be an independent material scientist. Can you develop these simulators or dummies whereby the sheath, the material that makes the sheath, and the material that is supposed to simulate the conductor are all both made of PVC or a cheaper alternative as compared to copper. This is what I mean. If you can make this conductor, this something that can simulate this conductor and have the probably the inner material be simulated by something that is made of PVC but of a color that is mimicking the copper, and it can be easily stripped so that a students institutions can buy as much of that at a cheaper price, because the cost of these uh, technically the cost of let's say a single core cable is around for 1.5 squared millimeter, give or take, you can get from us between 1500 to 2200 depending on the quality of the brand, right? But if we make a 1.5 millimeter dummy, we can make them for as little as 400 shillings, the entire roll. And that will allow students to mimic as many installation configurations as possible. Before now, they are allowed to do probably one or two at the end of each week with the real deal. So that each practical session, they are allowed to cut as many dummies as possible to simulate circuits before they are allowed now to go and cut this, the real one, to now do a circuit that will be powered up. And I'm saying that because in most cases, once a student has done a practical with this, the real thing, most of what is left are normally pieces that you cannot utilize effectively in the next installation. You need to now start creating joints and such, and it's not normally effective for learning purposes. But if a student can simulate as many circuits with a dummy, and the dummies can also simulate the sizes actually. So for example, for the 1.5 squared you just create a small dummy that can mimic this particular size. For the 2.5, same for the 4 and 6 and even 10. And then they can be as flexible as they can be, not too rigid, because I know plastic normally behaves in a very funny way, but you can try and make them not too flexible and not too rigid, so that even with the bending and the drawing them into pipes is easy for students to practice with. That's a wake-up call. I think probably to the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, I'll try and tag them and see if someone is interested in pursuing it. It's something that most institutions might be interested in investing in, because if they can buy, let's say, to replace one roll of 2.5 squared millimeter, at the cost of one roll, if they can buy 5 or even 6 rolls, give or take, and allow students to do probably 10 dummy practicals and one actual practical, for the institution, the student will learn how to simulate more different circuit configurations before they are given now the actual cable to do the live installation. This is also a wake-up call to CBET, to the TVET CDAC, to try and see how they can bring in manufacturers to try and simulate that, because I think cost is one aspect that most institutions are struggling with when it comes to providing training materials for students to train with.